Tony Stewart was known as the angriest driver in racing history. He never smiled, never backed down, and scared everyone around him. But in January 2026, a video surfaced showing Smoke doing something nobody thought possible. His one-year-old son walked into the garage, and what happened next has millions of people asking the same question. How did a tiny toddler completely destroy the toughest reputation in motorsports? The story of Dominic James Stewart's arrival is already the stuff of motorsports legend. Picture this. It's November 17th, 2024. Tony's at Pomona Drag Strip in California, qualifying for the NHRA Finals. He's driving Top Fuel for the first time in his career, filling in for his wife Leah Pruitt while she prepares to give birth. He nails his qualifying run. Then his team manager Kelly Antonelli walks over, puts her hand on his shoulder, and tells him Leah's on her way to the hospital in Phoenix. What does Tony do? He jumps on a plane, flies to Phoenix, makes it in time for the delivery, becomes a father at 4:43 in the morning, and then flies back to Pomona to race the next day. He didn't win that race, getting knocked out in the semifinals. But as he said himself, he experienced an emotion he'd never had before. Nothing else mattered after seeing his son's face. Dominic James Stewart came into the world weighing 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Tony handled the naming duties, creating a list of options and handing them to Leah, who picked the final choice. And Tony made one thing perfectly clear from the start. There was no way in hell he was naming his kid after himself. He joked that he wouldn't give a kid a strike against him right out of the gate like that. Classic Smoke humor, but with a new softness underneath. Fast forward to January 2026, and we're seeing a side of Tony Stewart that nobody expected. Social media has exploded with content showing the racing legend in full dad mode. And one clip in particular has absolutely taken over TikTok and Instagram Reels. It shows little Dominic, now just over a year old, tottering around the shop while Tony works on a Top Fuel dragster. The kid's got a tiny wrench in his hand, completely fascinated by everything his dad's doing. Tony's explaining something about the engine, and Dominic babbles back like he understands every word. Then the toddler tries to help by putting his little hand on a tool, and Tony just melts. The smile on his face is something you never saw during his NASCAR days. The internet has dubbed this the soft smoke era, and it's resonating with people far beyond the racing community. Because here's the thing, everyone loves a redemption arc. Everyone loves seeing the tough guy reveal his gentle side. And when that tough guy is one of the most intimidating figures in motorsports history, it hits different. The comments on these videos tell the whole story. People who never watched a single race are now following Tony Stewart racing on social media just to see updates about Dominic. Parents are sharing the clips with captions about how fatherhood changes everything. Racing fans who grew up watching Smoke throw down on the track are getting emotional seeing him be so tender with his son. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. Smoke finally found something he can't intimidate, and it's the most wholesome thing I've ever seen. But this isn't just about cute baby content. There's a real story here about transformation and priorities. Tony Stewart has always been all in on whatever he does. When he raced with everything he had. When he owned a NASCAR team, he poured his heart into Stewart-Haas racing. When he decided to try Top Fuel drag racing at 52 years old with zero nitro experience, he didn't just show up. He went out and won NHRA Rookie of the Year in 2024. Then in 2025, he's leading the points standings and fighting for a championship. And through all of that, he's been learning how to be a dad. Leah Pruitt stepped away from racing after the 2023 season specifically to start their family. She's a 12-time NHRA Top Fuel winner in her own right, finishing third in the championship standings in 2023. This was her seat, her ride, her sponsors, and Tony made it crystal clear from day one that he was just keeping it warm for her. The plan was always for Leah to come back when she was ready. That moment arrived for 2026. Leah Pruitt is returning to the driver's seat of the Direct Connection Dodge SRT Top Fuel dragster. And Tony? He's moving to Elite Motorsports to drive for Richard Freeman, which means husband and wife will be racing against each other. The battle for bragging rights at the Stewart household is about to get very interesting. But through all the competition and all the racing, little Dominic is going to be there watching his parents do what they love. The holiday season gave us even more glimpses into the Stewart family life. Dominic's first Christmas was documented on social media. complete with a custom red wagon that pays tribute to the Stewart racing legacy. Tony was literally bouncing with excitement when he saw it, acting like a kid himself. Then there was a moment where Tony rolled up in a sleek red Dodge Charger, shared a touching moment with his son before heading off, and you could see it written all over his face. Racing is still important, championships still matter, but nothing compares to being Dominic's dad. At a recent public appearance, Dominic stole the show again. Leah was giving a speech with their son on her lap when the little guy reached for the microphone and briefly turned it off mid-sentence. Leah posted about it with laughing emojis, captioning it, "I thought I was going to give a speech, but Dom had other plans." These are the moments that humanize legends. These are the stories that make Tony Stewart relatable in ways he never was during his racing career. And that's exactly why this is resonating so powerfully. For years, Tony Stewart was the guy you didn't mess with. He was intense, focused, sometimes controversial. He won races and championships and never apologized for his personality. But fatherhood has revealed a completely different dimension. He's still competitive. He's still smoke on the track. But off the track, he's just a dad who's completely smitten with his kid. The racing community has embraced this transformation wholeheartedly. Fellow drivers have shared congratulations and support. Fans who once found Tony too abrasive are now seeing him in a new light, and general audiences who might never watch a drag race are following along because the story is just that good. It's authentic, it's real, and in a world of carefully curated social media personas, there's something refreshing about seeing genuine moments between a father and son. Dominic turned 1-year-old back in November, and Leah marked the occasion with a heartfelt message. She shared photos from a Wild One-themed birthday party at Pomona and wrote that, sure, Dominic won't remember his first birthday party, but everyone else will, and he'll look back and see how loved he is by people who have watched him grow up all year long. That's the kind of sentiment that makes people emotional. That's the kind of content that goes viral for all the right reasons. As we move through 2026, the Tony Stewart story is far from over. He's still chasing championships. Leah's making her comeback, and Dominic is growing up in the middle of one of racing's most fascinating family dynamics. The clips of him in the shop, the photos at the track, the moments of everyday family life mixed with extraordinary racing careers, all of it is creating a narrative that transcends motorsports. Tony Stewart went from smoke to softy, and the internet can't get enough. The viral moments keep coming, the engagement keeps growing, and a whole new generation is discovering why this guy has been such a legendary figure in racing. Only now, they're seeing the full picture. Not just the champion, not just the owner, not just the fierce competitor. They're seeing the dad, and that might be the most important role Tony Stewart has ever taken on.